This conference will now be recorded.
Vagbhadacharyamaध्यamam asmadacharyaparyandam vande Guru Paramparam. Ragadirogan sadada anushakta na sheshakaya prasruta na sheshan Aulsukya moha aradidan jakhana Yo purva Vaidyaya namostu tasmai. So, once again, namaskaram to all of you. We are, I won't say learning, we are reading Dravadravya Vidnyaniya, Ashtanga Hridayam, Sutrasthana. So, we have covered a few shlokas in our last session. We reached up to that types of sources of toyam or jalam and what is happening to the quality on the usage of different types of water. And one particular area what we saw the other day having lot of clinical application was that Nambupeyam Ashaktya Swalpam Alpagni Gulmibhihi Pandu Udara Adhisara Arsho Grahani Shosha Shodhibhihi. So a list of clinical conditions are given, and there is an advice that by these individuals who are having these sort of clinical conditions, they are not supposed to consume ambu water. Ashaktya swalpam. If the situation is so demanding that the patient desperately needs some water, then give very little bit. Swalpam, atyalpam, swalpam, swalpam, atyalpam. And the conditions given are alpagni, gulmi, pandu, udaram, adisaram, arshas, grahani, shosham, shodham or shobham. At least one condition given here could be creating some sort of a confusion or conflicting situation here. That is adisaram. Whether to give water in adisaram or not, we will be thinking about many other situations like oral rehydration and everything. So how can we say that it is contraindicated or no water should be given? How logical it is? So definitely that could be an issue. So here it is all about toyam. Toyam is water only. Not all sorts of dravam is included in toyam. So here the restriction is for the use of water. Once you go through the Adhisara Chikilsa, you can find that many types of dravam or dravarupa aushadha ahara kalpanas can be seen prescribed, including the use of extensive use of takram in many contexts, kashaya, peya, yavagu, panam. All these things can be seen very logically included in the management program of Adhisara. So here it is all about toyam. So don't get confused. Everything is like that only in all other clinical conditions. Then next was Hriday Sharannidaghabhyam pibed swasthopi cha alpashah. Even swasthaha api alpashah pibed. Alpashah pibed. Hriday sharan nidaghabhyam. Except in the ritus of Sharat and Nidagham, Grishmam. So two hot ritus. Except these two hot ritus, even the swastha should not consume water in a very lavish or luxurious manner. It is not ideal. We will find its reasoning sometime later. Then the next was Samasthula Krisha Bhukta Madhyanda Pradhamambupaha. Samasthula Krisha Bhukta Madhyanda Pradhamambupaha. Bhukta Madhyam, Bhuktandam, Bhukta Pradhamam. Ambu Pa, somebody who drinks. Ambupa, somebody who drinks water. Bhukta Madhyanda Pradhamambupaha. Kramena Samasthula Krishaha Bhavati. So Bhukta Madhya Ambupaha Samasthula Krisha Samaha. No Stholyam, no Karshyam. Samadhadu. Madhyam, Andam, it is Sthulam. Prathamam, it is Karshyam. We can find some explanations given in the commentary. Bhukta Madhye or Bhakta Madhye Ambupidam Dhadu Samyam Samanadam Karodi Bhakta Andedu Pidam Amashaye Kabhavruddhim Vidathad Sthaulyamadhatte Bhaktadau cha Pidam Nirindhanam Agnim Teja Pratipakshataya Avasyam Avasadayadi Mandaha Agnischa Samyag Aharam Paktum Ashaktaha Bhavadi Aharasya cha Asamyak Pagad Na Tatha Pushtihi Idi Krishatve Yuktihi. We will find this with the Arunadatta commentary. In any case, I have a personal feeling that you need not be able to or need not be putting yourself in the trouble of explaining everything, because many of these things are documentation of experiences or documentation of observations. Sometimes you may not be able to explain why it is so. Sometimes you may be able to. When you are able to, you should keep on trying whether there is a better explanation possible. Where you are not able to, you should keep on trying whether we can find at least some explanation. Even if you are not explaining, the observation is not going to change. Even if you could explain, I think you may not be able to alter it. So need not bother too much about the observations. Real experiences which cannot be explained many times. So these are more like a documentation of experiences or repeated observations. Fine. Then in the next line, we are going to find the advantages or disadvantages of consuming different types of water. First, we will deal with fresh water. Sheetam, Sheeta Jalam. So, Sheeta Jalam need not be below the normal temperature, but normal temperature, fresh water. Adhishaityam is different. We might have seen it somewhere else. Dandagrahya Adhishaityataha. Sometimes the water you get by the melting of ice or these things, they are not, need not be Sheetam, they are Adhisheetam. So here it is Sheetam. Okay, of course, if you keep the fresh water in maybe in an earthen pot, it will go little bit down the normal in terms of its temperature level. So you may be calling it as maybe this is the Shidam what I meant. Fine, no issue. So the advantage or the quality or the property explained here is Shidam Madatyayaglani Murcha Chardi Shrama Brahman Trishna Ushna Daha Pitta Asra Vishani Ambu Niyachadi. Shidam Madatyaya Glani Murcha Chardi Shrama Brahman Trishna Ushna Daha Pitta Asra Vishani Ambu Niyachadi. That Ambu should be linked with the Shidam. Shidam Ambu, so and so, Niyachadi, Niyachadi pacifies or takes control over. So that is the meaning of that Niyachadi, reduces or kills. So that is Niyachadi. So Shita Ambu, consumption of Shita Ambu can be beneficial in these conditions. As you may be seeing, all of them are basically having some predominance of Pitta Rakta. So when that Pitta Rakta conditions are not highlighted like Chardi, so this Chardi, you should understand that that is Pitta predominant Chardi. Where is Pittol Banada, in that Chardi only you can use this Shida Jala, not in Kabhaja Chardi or Vadiga Chardi. So such untold principles are to be read and comprehended between the lines. That is important. Then Shramam, Bhramam, Trishna, Ushna, Daha, Pittasra, Vishani. So that is, they are all reflecting their basic prakriti. That is fine. Then now there is a question, what about Ushnam? When Shidam is explained, obviously there is a question, what about Ushnam? So next is about Ushna Jalam. Deepanam Pajanam Kandhyam Laghu Ushnam Vastishodhanam Hidmadhmana Anilashleshma Sadyashuddhi Navajvare Kasama Pina Sashwasa Parshvarukshuja Shasyate. Deepanam Pajanam Kandhyam Lagushnam Vastishodhanam Hidmadhmananilashleeshma Sadyashuddhi Navajvare Kasama Pina Sashwasa Parshvarukshuja Shasyate. So Ushnam, that Ushnam is to be taken from that Laghu Ushnam. Ushnam Ambu or Ushnam Jalam is Deepanam, Pajanam, Kandhyam, Laghu. So Ushnam is Laghu, then we should understand that Shidam is not Laghu. It is Deepanam and Pajanam and Kandhyam, then you should understand that Shidam is not Deepanam, not Pajanam or not Kandhyam. Vastishodhanam, then Hidma, Adhmana, Anilashleshma, Sadya Shuddhi, Navajvare, Kasa, Ama, Pinasa, Shwasa, Parshvarukshu cha Shasyate. So in all these conditions, we should understand the presence of Anilashleshma. Anilashleshma, that is important. Either Anila or Shleshma or Anilashleshma. So what I was saying is that whenever you learn the lines from this Ushnambu Panam or Ushnambu Jala Gunam, what we find here, that means Deepanam, Pajanam, Kandhyam, Lagushnam, Vastishodhanam, Hidmadhmana Anila, Shleshma Sadya Shuddhi Navajvare, Kasama Pina Sashwasa Parshvarukshucha Shasyade. we should obviously go back to our Jwara Chikitsa. That is what I was mentioning. In Jwara Chikitsa, at one point we find that Trishnaga alpa alpam ushnambu pibed vadakabhajware. So that is very, very important as far as the proper systematic management of Jwara is concerned. These few lines, what we find in Jwara Chikitsa is very important. Trishnaga alpalpam ushnambu pibed vadakabhajware. Tad kabham vilayam nitva trishnamashu nivartayed. Udirya chagnim Srodamsi mrudu kripya vishodhayed. Srodamsi vishodhayed. Lina pittanilasveda shagran mutra anulomanam. Nidra jadyaruji haram. Prananam avalambanam. Viparita mada shidam dosha sanghada varthanam. So up to that prananam avalambanam is the advantage or benefit of using Ushna Jalam in Vada Kabhajwara when the patient is thirsty, Trishnavan. This is very important because that every event explained in each one of those lines is significant. Need not be Jwara alone. Tad kabham vilayam nitva Trishnamashu nivartayed. So that kabha vilayanam, Amayukta Kapha Vilayanam in the Amashayam and the Srodasas related to or attached to this Amashayam is very, very important clinically. That can be achieved simply by Ushna Jalam. Tat Kabham Vilayan Nitva Trishnamashu Nivartaye. So obviously Trishna subsides. Then Agnim Udirya Chagnim Srodamsi Mrdukritya Vishodhayed. Srodo Vishodhanam. In Ama Ashaya Sthita Amam. Kapha Amam. Srodo Vishodhanam is of utmost importance. Then, once that is achieved, Lina Pittanila Sweda Sagran Mutra Anulomanam. Anulomanam of all these things can be achieved easily. And as a result, Nidra Jadya Rujiharam Prananam Avalambanam. So these lines should always be read together with the properties of Ushna Jalam, what we see in Dravadravya Vidnyaniya. Then, what I was adding to that was that Viparita Madashidam Dosha Sanghada Varthanam. In Vada Kabha predominant condition, Shida Jalam is Dosha Sanghada Varthanam. Vada Kabha predominant conditions, this can be making the situation quite bad. Then at the same time, this next line in Ashtanga Hridayam Dravadravya Vidnyaniyam is going to explain about Kodhida Shidala Jalam. Not Kodhida Ushna Jalam, but Kodhida Shida Jalam. Anabhishyandi Laghuja Toyam Kodhida Shidalam. Anabhishyandi Laghuja. Abhishyandi in the context of most of this Dravya Vijnanam simply means Kabha Vilayanam or Kabha Vardhanam. So here it is Anabhishyandi Kabha Vardhanam. Anabhishyandi Laghuja Toyam Kodhida Shidalam Pittayukte Hidam Doshe. Pittayukte Hidam Doshe. So when there is Pittanubandham, you can go for Kodhida Shidala Jalam. Go back to the Jara Chikilsa, and we will find that Ushnam evam gunatvevi yunjyanna iganda pittale udrikta pitte davadhudaha moha adisarini vishamadyothide grishme kshatakshine asrapittini. Ushnam evam gunatve api. So we saw that
This conference will now be recorded.
Ushnamevam gunatvebi yunjyad naiganda pittale udrikta pitte davadhu daha moha adisarini vishamadyothide. What I'm quoting is from Jara Chikilsa. Grishme Shatakshine Asrapittini. So in such situations, we have to go to this Kodhida Shidala Jalam, and in Kodhida Shidala Jalam, we have to understand that generally, this is not a rule, but generally the Kodhida Shitalatvam is always done with the Aushadham, not simple Kodhida Shitala. Whereas Ushnam can be simply Ushnam, that hot water. But in generally Kodhida Shitalam, it is always done with some Aushadham. In Jara Chikilsa, that is a classical context. Immediately after explaining this Kodhida Shitala Jalam, we will find the Shadangam. Khana Chandana Shundhyambu Parpadoshira Sadhidam Shidam Tebhyohidam Toyam Pajanam Trijvarapaham. And there is a standard way of doing this Aushadha Samskaranam. Karsham Grihitva Dravyasya Toyasya Prasthamavaped Ardhavashesham Tadgrahyam Toyapanetu Ayam Vithihi. This is the procedure. Karsham Grihitva Dravyasya toyasya prasthamavaped ardhavashesham tadgrahyam toyapanetu ayam vitihi. So all these things are to be understood here. In Adhisara Chikitsa also you will find Adhisara Chikitsa also this sort of Ausha, Kothita Shidala Jalam you will find. Many situations in Raktapitam you will find this sort of Kothita Shidala Jala used. Okay, fine. Now back to our Dravadravya Vidnyaniya. Another type of toyam is explained. Vyushidam tad trudosha krit. Vyushidam or adhyushidam tad trudosha krit. Tad kodhita shidala jalam. Adhyushidam. Adhyushidam means which has stood overnight is trudosha krit. It is trudosha krit. So if you prepare this kodhita shidala jalam, you are supposed to use it that day itself, that daytime itself. Don't keep it overnight. Don't allow to stay overnight and consume next day. That because that is explained as Trudosha Krit. Then in Ashtanga Hridayam we will find one special item called an Aligerodagam. That is something like an accidental inclusion, because it is not like the Kupa Jalam or Nadi Jalam. It is some sort of a extraction from a herbal source. So I do not know how did it find a place in this Toya Vargam, but I think sometimes that may be in very common usage that days, and ideally in Toya Vargam there was no other group in which this item can be included. So I think it came under the Toya Vargam. That's all. And the explanation goes like this. Naligerodagam snigdham swadu vrishyam himam lekhu trishna pittanilaharam deepanam vasti shodhanam. Naligerodagam snigdham swadu vrishyam himam lekhu trishna pittanilaharam deepanam vasti shodhanam. So it can be used in clinically relevant situations as medicine as well. That is of interest. Then Vagbhara can be seen concluding the Toya Vargam in Ashtanga Hridayam. Varshasu divya nade param toye varavare. Varshasu divya nade param toye varavare. He is just mentioning about the best item for consumption in the Toya Varga and the worst item in the same group. It is like this. Varshasu divyam, varshasu nadeyam. Divyam, we discussed it in our previous session. Divyam means the something which comes from the skies. So the rainwater, Varshasu divyam, specifically the seasonal rainwater. The divyam jalam in some other ritu, maybe in the summer, sometimes there will be summer showers. So that water is not included here. Varshasu divyam, that is the best. And Varshasu nadeyam, nadeyam, something which is from the Nadi, river. So Varsham makes the river carrying everything around, all sorts of this waste materials, and the water also will be so much muddy and so that is supposed to be the worst quality water as far as the consumption standards are concerned. Varshasu Divyanadeye Param Toye Varavare. So that is how he is concluding the Toya Vargam. But now we will find something extra from Ashtanga Sangraham. In Ashtanga Sangraham, one interesting observation is that Paniyam Praninam Prana Vishwameva cha Tanmayam Adotyanda Nishedhena Na Kvajit Vaidya. Then he is adding a few lines. Asya Shosha Angasadadhyaha Asya Shosha Angasadadhya Mrutyurva Tadalabhataha. So that shows the risk of getting dehydrated. Asya Shosha Angasadadhyaha Mrutyurva Tadalabhataha. That is important. Then Kwadhidam Chame. Kwadhidam cha ame. That means ame paniye ajirne. When you have already consumed some fresh water and it is still there in your system, undigested or unassimilated or unabsorbed, don't consume Kwadhitam jalam. Don't consume Kwadhitam jalam over ama jalam. Then Jirnebi Nedarad. Jirnebi Nedarad. So Pakwe Jirnebi. Pakwe Jirne api. After consuming Kwadhida jalam, even if it is completely assimilated, completely digested, don't drink amam jalam over it. Don't take amam jalam over it. So these two lines, Paniyam natu paniyam, Paniye nyapradesaje ajirne, Kodhidam chame, Pakwe jirne bine darad. Then continuing, Shide vidhirayam. This is regarding, in general, regarding the Shita jalam. Taptetvajirne shishiram tyajed. After consuming hot water, never take fresh water over it. So these sort of very subtle observations, even regarding the consumption of water, its consistency, its temperature, its preparation status, all these things are observed and documented with a keen precision. This is very, very important. Just see how rich the literature is. So that is the significance. Whether you are going to practice this or not, I think it is uncertain. But while you are looking or trying to track back the nidana part of many diseases in your clinical practice, I think these things may be of benefit. Very, very important. Then another important documentation by Ashtanga Sangraham is Kevalam Saushadham Pakvam Amam Ushnam Hitam Chatad Samikshya Matraya Yuktam Amritam Vishavad Anyatha. It is a general statement about various types of water and their consumption. Whatever the thing you use, whether it is Aushadha Yukta Jalam, Kevala Jalam, whether it is Pakwa Jalam or Ama Jalam, it is Shida Jalam or Ushna Jalam, doesn't matter. You take whatever you like to, whatever suits you, but Samikshya. Samikshya That is important. You should have some idea about what is going to happen, whether this suits to your system or not. All these things are to be taken care of. Matraya. The matra is also very important. Samikshya matraya yuktam. Otherwise, what is going to happen? Vishavad. It is going to be like poison. If you are taking it samikshya and matraya, it is like amrit. Otherwise, it is like poison. Then, regarding the matra, another important observation is adiyogena salilam trishyatopi prayojitam prayadi shleshma pittatvam jwaritasya visheshataha. Very, very important. Adiyogena salilam trishyatopi prayojitam. Trishyataha api. Even if you are trishyataha, you are thirsty, you have that trishna. Adiyogena prayojitam salilam. Adiyogena. You are consuming the salilam in adiyoga, in unnecessarily high quantities. Then prayadi shleshma pittatvam. That is going to bring some unwanted surge in the status of shleshma and pitta in your body in general and in your amashaya in particular. Prayadi shleshma pittatvam. Then jwaritasya. If you are a jwaritan, then visheshataha, especially in a jwarita, what is the problem? Vardhayatyama trit nidra tandra adhmana gauravam kasa agnisada hrillasa prasega shwasa pinasan. So in the case of a jwarita, unwanted or unexpected quantities of water consumed in any form is going to create shleshma pitta surge in the amashaya, and it is also going to increase conditions like amam, trinnidra, tandradhamana, angagauravam, kasam, agnisadam, hrillasam, prasegam, shwasam, penasam. This is very, very important because adiyoga salilobhayogam has become some sort of a fashion in the name that, okay, this is going to clean your kidneys, so take 10 liters of water in multiple doses or 3 liters of water in empty stomach in the morning. All these things are going to be a very fashionable lifestyle many a times. Especially these concepts are spread across different strata of the society through the social media. So they think that it is healthy, many doctors think that it is healthy, and sometimes the Vaidyas also think that it is healthy. Sometimes the Vaidyas also follow these sort of things. And when somebody is coming to you with some specialty diagnosis, which could be basically related to the status of his Agni, and this man or woman says that I'm living a very healthy lifestyle, I'm taking no tea, no coffee, I'm taking lots of fresh vegetables, I'm vegan, I'm so and so, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and he also will be very proud of saying you that, okay, I'm taking 3 liters of water in the morning. You will be confused. Where will you find the Nidanam? So these lines should be popping up into your smriti. Adiyogena salilam trishyataha api. That api means even if it is used by a thirsty fellow, it is going to be shleshma pittagari. So what about somebody who is not thirsty? That is that api. Adiyogena salilam trishyatobi prayojitam prayadi shleshma pittatvam ज्वरितस्य विशेषतः वर्धयत्यामतृन्निद्रातन्द्रात्मानङ्गगौरवं काश अग्निसाद हृल्लास प्रसेग श्वास पीनसान. That is the trouble of taking unwanted quantities of water. So I think we have touched the timeline. Really sorry that I missed the many portions in between. I couldn't understand actually that I was not getting heard properly. Sorry for that. Nilesh, I think we will stop here because we have a few more lines to follow from Ashtanga Sangraham, which are very important. So we'll do that in the next session.
Yes. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Okay.
So if there are no queries, then we will conclude today, sir.
Yes. Actually, there won't be any query. I think sometimes some sharing of their clinical experiences or something could be there.
Yes. If
Isn't
somebody
it?
wants to add,
Exactly.
you can just put on your mic.
Exactly. If nothing is there, I think we will stop here today and we will continue later.
Yes, sir. We will conclude today.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Ashwin
Namaste.
sir wants to say,
Yeah.
IV fluids in fever, we see lot of complications later.
Yeah, because basically these are manipulating the Udagavaha Srotas. So there could be some issues if it is done with lot of care, and especially the IV fluid has got a different story as well, because IV fluids, they are life-saving technique, no doubt about it. They are life-saving, and but the point is they are bypassing Agni. Body's Prakriti, natural system is that everything which is getting into the srotas, which run all around through the so-called deham, which is made out of the dhadus and which is going to get engaged in the act of dhatu parinamam, they all should be certified as safe and as acceptable by the Jadharagni. So in all parenteral routes, all this intravenous or that sort of routes, they are not marked or labeled as safe or acceptable by the Jadharagni. So obviously there can be risk. So it should be done with utmost care and also in the most um, safest option as well, way as well. Otherwise, definitely they can create issues, no doubt about it. Okay, then, shall we stop?
Yes, yes, sir. We will
Okay.
conclude today.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Namaste.